Don't blame me. I didn't even know it was your car.
The Bad News Bears wasn't just a scrappy baseball comedy. It was a cultural shock that rewrote the rules of sports movies. Here are 20 shocking secrets behind the 70s classic that almost never made it to the field. Fact 1.
Look, Mr. Buttermaker, quit bugging me about my food.
When the Bad News Bears hit theaters in 1976, it pushed boundaries for what a kid's sports movie could show. The language was rough, with constant swearing and insults flying across the field. At one point, the MPAA considered giving it an R rating instead of PG. That would have killed its chances at reaching families. The producers argued that the film needed its edge to feel authentic. They fought to keep the profanity intact, calling it part of real Little League culture. The compromise? A PG rating, but just barely. It was shocking at the time for parents to hear kids cursing on screen. Yet that same grit made the movie stand out from typical family comedies. The realism was part of its charm. The controversy even helped drive ticket sales, as audiences wanted to see what the fuss was about. If it had been rated R, The Bad News Bears might have been forgotten. Instead, it became a groundbreaking film that redefined sports comedies. The risky choice of language was no accident. It was a fight for authenticity, and it paid off. Without that battle, the Bears wouldn't have been nearly as bad or as iconic. Fact 2.
There. Engelberg,
What?
that is a bunt. B-U-N-T.
Walter Matthau played Coach Morris Buttermaker like he was born for it. But in reality, Matthau despised baseball. He found the sport slow, boring, and frustrating to learn. The actor struggled with basic pitching mechanics during filming. He joked that the kids in the cast were better players than him. To cover for it, the director shot many of Matthau's baseball scenes in fragments. Still, his grumpy, unpolished style ended up fitting the character perfectly. Matthau leaned into his irritation, turning it into comedy gold. Behind the scenes, he told friends he'd never attend a real baseball game. It's ironic that one of cinema's most memorable baseball coaches didn't care about the sport at all. His disinterest gave Buttermaker authenticity as a washed-up has-been. He wasn't a polished motivator. He was a man stumbling through. That made the movie funnier and more real. Matthau proved you don't have to love baseball to deliver a legendary baseball performance. His natural gruffness became the movie's backbone, and it remains one of his most celebrated roles, even if he hated every inning of it. Fact 3.
Okay, the next one's coming right between your eyes.
Tatum O'Neal, fresh off her Oscar win for Paper Moon, was the biggest name in the cast. When she was cast as Amanda Wurlitzer, she negotiated a massive salary. She reportedly made $350,000 for the role, far more than the rest of the young cast combined. This caused jealousy on set. Some of the boys resented her star status and higher pay. Ironically, that tension added to the film's authenticity. The Bears were supposed to clash and compete with one another. O'Neal's confidence and sharp presence fit Amanda's character perfectly. Her skill on screen was undeniable. The boys might have been bitter, but audiences loved her. She anchored the film with wit and attitude. The role proved that girls could be just as tough in sports movies, and it set a standard for future underdog stories. The pay gap controversy followed O'Neal for years, but she shrugged it off. She knew her star power earned it. Without her, the Bad News Bears wouldn't have had the same bite. Fact 4.
What are you doing here?
Some asshole changed my mind.
Jackie Earle Haley played Kelly Leak, the motorcycle-riding rebel who dominates the field. But before landing the role, Haley was ready to quit acting. He'd been working in commercials and bit parts, frustrated by lack of progress. When he auditioned for the Bad News Bears, he thought he had no chance. Instead, the role changed his life overnight. Kelly became one of the most iconic characters in 70s cinema. The cool, tough kid with surprising heart resonated with audiences. Haley's performance was so strong, he reprised the role in the sequels. For years, though, Hollywood typecast him as the bad kid. By the 80s, he stepped away from acting entirely. He later made a stunning comeback in films like Watchmen and Little Children. Haley credits the Bad News Bears with teaching him resilience. It showed him that one role could transform everything. And without it, he might have disappeared from Hollywood altogether. It was both a blessing and a curse. but it made him unforgettable in movie history. Fact 5.
Buttermaker, this is your second place trophy.
The final game of the Bad News Bears is legendary because the team loses. It shocked audiences who expected a classic Hollywood victory. Paramount executives wanted the Bears to win. They pushed for a rewrite that gave the kids a triumphant ending, but the filmmakers refused. They argued that losing was more authentic to the underdog story. It showed the kids' growth mattered more than the trophy. The studio fought hard but eventually gave in. The result was one of the most talked about endings of the decade. Audiences were stunned, but also impressed by the boldness. It proved that a sports movie could still work without a victory lap. Critics praised the choice as brave and original. It separated the Bad News Bears from cookie-cutter kids' movies. The ending became its defining feature, and without it, the film wouldn't have been nearly as groundbreaking. Sometimes the best win is a loss. Fact 6.
Thanks, mister.
When the movie came out, some parents and Little League organizations were furious. They said it painted youth baseball in a negative light. Coaches were portrayed as selfish, foul-mouthed, and incompetent. Kids were seen smoking, swearing, and drinking beer. For family audiences in 1976, it was a shock. Some leagues even banned screenings of the film at community events. But kids loved it. They saw themselves on screen for the first time. It wasn't sanitized, it was raw and funny. The backlash ironically fueled its popularity. Word of mouth spread among young audiences who wanted to see it. The film started debates about realism in children's entertainment. Should movies show kids as they are, or as adults want them to be? The Bad News Bears firmly chose realism, and it paid off at the box office. It showed Hollywood there was power in imperfection, and it sparked conversations that lasted years. Fact 7.
Oh, Buttermaker, didn't you get the notice? I'm bankrupt.
After the movie's success, CBS decided to turn the Bad News Bears into a sitcom. It aired in 1979 with new actors playing the kids. Jack Warden took over Walter Matthau's role as Coach Buttermaker. The show lacked the bite and grit of the original film. Censors toned down the language and attitude. Without edge, the Bears felt toothless. The sitcom lasted only 2 seasons before being canceled. Critics panned it as watered down. Fans of the movie ignored it completely. It's now remembered as one of TV's weaker film adaptations. The failure proved the movie's magic couldn't be recreated, especially not without Matthau's grumpy genius. The sitcom remains a forgotten footnote in Bears history, but it shows how Hollywood will always try to cash in. And sometimes lightning can't strike twice. Fact 8.
I don't know who the hell you are, but sit down and shut up.
Walter Matthau was a seasoned actor with a sharp wit. The kids, meanwhile, were unruly and unpredictable on set. Matthau grew frustrated with their lack of professionalism. He often scolded them between takes, but that tension added to his performance. Buttermaker was supposed to be exasperated by the team. Matthau leaned into his real irritation. The kids, meanwhile, learned to push his buttons for fun. Director Michael Ritchie encouraged it, saying it helped the chemistry. Some days were chaotic, with Matthau storming off set, but other times he bonded with them quietly. He gave advice to Jackie Earle Haley about handling fame. Tatum O'Neal later said Matthau was tough but protective. The mix of conflict and mentorship mirrored the movie's theme, and it made the on-screen relationships even more believable. Sometimes art imitates life more than planned. Fact 9.
Next time I tell you to do something, goddammit, you do it or else you're off this team.
Nobody expected the Bad News Bears to be a blockbuster. The budget was small, the cast was unconventional, and it was released quietly. But audiences embraced it immediately. Word of mouth turned it into a phenomenon. It grossed over $42 million in the US alone. For a film that cost under $10 million, that was massive. It became one of the top grossing films of 1976. Paramount executives were stunned. The success launched 2 sequels and a TV show. It also inspired a wave of misfit team movies. Without it, films like Mighty Ducks might not exist. The box office proved audiences were ready for edgier family comedies. And it gave underdog sports movies a whole new life. The Bad News Bears went from a gamble to a goldmine, and it remains a cult classic because of that success. Fact 10.
Well, Luce, if you wiped your nose once in a while, people wouldn't give you so much credit all the time.
Before the Bad News Bears, kids' sports movies were usually clean and wholesome. This film flipped the genre upside down. It showed kids swearing, fighting, and rebelling. The adults weren't role models, but failures. Audiences loved it because it felt real. It proved kids could carry a movie without being sanitized. Hollywood took note. Soon, films like Slapshot and later Mighty Ducks borrowed its template. The underdog misfit team became a sports movie staple. Even modern comedies owe it a debt. Without the Bad News Bears, the genre would look completely different. It made losers lovable. It made failure entertaining. It gave kids in movies permission to be messy. And it influenced decades of sports comedies that followed. The Bears weren't just bad, they were groundbreaking. Fact 11.
I'll drink to that.
One of the film's most controversial details is that the kids are shown drinking beer. Audiences assumed it was soda or a safe prop beverage. But insiders revealed that some scenes actually used real beer. The kids weren't guzzling large amounts, but even small sips shocked parents. In the 1970s, film regulations were looser, and production sometimes pushed boundaries. Walter Matthau reportedly found it hilarious, saying it added to the authenticity. The controversy exploded once word spread in the press. It fueled criticism that the movie was irresponsible and corrupting children. But for director Michael Ritchie, that edge was the point. He wanted the Bears to feel raw, not polished. The choice scandalized adults but thrilled young audiences who saw it as rebellious. It became one of the film's most notorious details, and it cemented its reputation as a movie that didn't play by Hollywood rules. Had it been made today, such a choice would be unthinkable. But in 1976, it was part of the movie's gritty DNA. It blurred the line between fiction and reality in ways that still spark debate. Fact 12.
I'm on the Bears. I got a Harley Davidson. Does that turn you on, Harley Davidson?
The Bad News Bears may already feel rough around the edges, but the original script was even darker. Early drafts portrayed Buttermaker as more abusive and mean-spirited. The kids were also written with harsher dialogue and more troubling behavior. At one point, a subplot involved the Bears losing badly and disbanding. Executives feared the script was too bleak for audiences, so it was softened, but only slightly. The essence of the dysfunction remained, just with more comedy. Michael Ritchie fought to keep as much grit as possible. That's why the film still feels raw compared to polished family movies. If the first draft had been filmed, it might have been too uncomfortable for release. Yet the DNA of that darker script is still visible. It's part of what makes the film so unique. Instead of a heartwarming kids movie, audiences got a cynical reflection of real life. The rewrites struck the perfect balance. Darkness and comedy collided, creating something entirely new. And it proved that even underdog stories don't need sugarcoating. Fact 13.
What about after tomorrow?
After tomorrow, we do what all ball players do.
Tatum O'Neal's role as Amanda Wurlitzer was iconic, but casting her wasn't easy. Producers auditioned dozens of young actresses. Most couldn't pitch convincingly or handle the fast dialogue. The studio wasn't sure O'Neal, despite her Oscar, could pull off baseball scenes. She trained with real coaches for weeks before filming. Her fastball improved enough to look believable on camera, but she still used stunt doubles for harder pitches. O'Neal impressed everyone with her determination. The boys in the cast initially resented her star power, yet her chemistry with Matthau made her indispensable. Without her, the film's emotional anchor would have been lost. Amanda wasn't just a player, she was the heart of the team. O'Neal fought for respect, both on screen and off. Her presence elevated the film beyond comedy, and it proved young actresses could headline sports movies. The battle to cast Amanda was worth every second. Fact 14.
I ain't doing nothing. I'm just sitting here.
This field is for ball players, not for juvenile delinquents.
So well, I can play baseball better than anybody in this league.
Kelly Leak became the ultimate cool kid of the 70s. Cigarette in mouth, leather jacket, riding a motorcycle. What audiences didn't realize was Earle Haley did many of those stunts himself. The studio considered hiring a double, but Haley insisted. He was already a skilled rider at just 15. Production insurance nearly blocked him from doing it, but Michael Ritchie sided with Haley, saying his authenticity mattered. Haley trained for weeks to perfect the entrances and turns. Some of the riding was genuinely dangerous. Crew members were nervous every time he sped onto the field, but Haley nailed it. adding real swagger to Kelly Leak. The choice gave his character unmatched credibility. It wasn't Hollywood trickery, it was real teenage rebellion. Haley later said those scenes were the highlight of his youth. Fans admired him even more for doing the stunts himself. It remains one of the coolest behind-the-scenes truths of the movie. Kelly Leak wasn't faked, he was the real deal. Fact 15.
I mean, I'm an old, broken-down, third-rate ball player. I like to drink too much. I like to smoke my cigars without anybody bothering me, including you.
Coach Buttermaker is famous for drinking beer on the bench. Audiences laughed at his constant sipping. But sometimes Matthau's cans weren't filled with prop drinks. He occasionally requested real alcohol on tough shooting days. The director allowed it since Matthau stayed professional. His genuine drunken slur added authenticity to the role. The kids on set sometimes joked about his smell. It blurred the line between actor and character. Matthau's natural gruffness paired with a little buzz made scenes funnier. The crew looked the other way, as long as he delivered. It became part of the film's unpolished energy. Few stars could pull that off without disaster, but Matthau thrived in chaos. His Buttermaker was equal parts broken and hilarious. The real alcohol only deepened that illusion, and it left audiences wondering where Matthau ended and Buttermaker began. Fact 16.
Hey, Tanner. You okay?
Before it was called The Bad News Bears, the movie had another working title. The script was originally named The Coach. Executives thought it sounded too boring. They brainstormed dozens of alternatives, from Little League losers to hardball kids. Nothing felt right until someone pitched The Bad News Bears. It instantly captured the mix of comedy and dysfunction. The alliteration made it catchy. Marketing executives loved it. Matthau even said the title was better than the script at first. The name set the tone for everything that followed. It was silly, rebellious, and unforgettable. The Bears weren't just bad at baseball, they were bad news. The title became so iconic that sequels and spin-offs couldn't change it. Fans couldn't imagine it being called anything else. Sometimes the right title makes the movie, and this one was pure perfection. Fact 17.
I can understand how you guys feel.
After the movie's release, a Little League organization filed a lawsuit. They claimed the film damaged their reputation. The portrayal of kids smoking, swearing, and drinking was too offensive. They argued it mocked youth baseball unfairly. The lawsuit never made it to trial, but it made headlines. Paramount defended the film as satire, not reality. The bad press only increased audience interest. Parents who banned it at first ended up curious. The controversy gave the movie free marketing, and the lawsuit quickly fizzled. But it left a mark. The Bad News Bears was seen as a cultural troublemaker. It proved sports movies could stir real-world debates. The attempt to silence it only made it stronger. And in the end, the Bears won that game. Even in court, they were underdogs who came out ahead. Fact 18.
I didn't need your help, you know.
I know.
While filming, the young cast spent months together. They weren't just co-stars. They became teammates. They played baseball between takes. They pulled pranks on Matthau and the crew. Some even dated briefly behind the scenes. Their real friendships bled into the movie. That's why the team chemistry feels so authentic. The director encouraged their chaos, capturing it on film. Even decades later, many of the cast members stayed in touch. Jackie Earle Haley often called them his second family. The bonds helped them through the sequels, and it gave the Bears a raw, believable energy. The fights, the laughs, the teamwork. Much of it was real. The kids weren't acting friendship, they were living it. That reality made the film timeless. Fact 19.
Look at that gut on you.
I beg your pardon, there's an ounce of fat on me.
The success of the original guaranteed sequels, The Bad News Bears in Breaking Training and The Bad News Bears Go to Japan followed. But neither had the same bite. The language was toned down, the realism was softened, and critics noticed immediately. Audiences enjoyed them, but they lacked edge. Walter Matthau didn't return for the sequels. Neither did Tatum O'Neal. Without them, the chemistry was gone. The movies felt like imitations of the original. The franchise lost momentum, but the first film's reputation never wavered. It stood taller because the sequels fell short, and it proved that lightning doesn't always strike twice. Fact 20.
Come down, Tanner. Get down from there. Forget about that. Now sit down. I want to talk to you.
I'm not listening to you, Crud. I'm leaving.
The Bad News Bears wasn't just a hit movie. It changed how Hollywood treated kids in film. Before it, children were portrayed as sweet and innocent. After it, they were allowed to be messy, flawed, and funny. The Bears opened the door for a new era of realistic youth comedies. It influenced everything from Stand By Me to The Sandlot. Writers saw they could tell kids stories without sugarcoating. The movie made imperfection lovable. It also gave young actors more complex roles. Studios realized audiences embraced edgy honesty. The cultural impact was massive. The Bad News Bears wasn't just a movie, it was a revolution. It made kids' voices louder and more authentic on screen. Its influence still lingers today. Every misfit sports movie owes it a debt. It remains one of the boldest family films ever made, and it all started with one team of bad kids who refused to play nice.